It's time for the Minnesota Pro-Am Bass Tour, the biggest and richest bass tournament in the state. We're at the Thunderbird Lodge in International Falls for event number 5, where Minnesota's best bass anglers have come to compete for $10,000. Join your host Chip Lear as he takes you out on the water and into the boats for an up-close view of all the action. So stick around, you're in for quite a ride on the Minnesota Pro-Am Bass Tour.
A big fishery, probably 45 miles to the other end, and over 2,000 islands on Rainy Lake, 250,000 acres, and just full of bass and walleye and northern pike, and just a fabulous fun fishery. And it's a lot deeper than most of the lakes down in the southern part of the state. We got the Canadian Shield rock here, the bedrock, so it's a different substrate up here. We're gonna have some 15 to 22-year-old fish brought in for sure. And then of course, with the weather we had recently, there's gonna be a lot of changes. So a lot of guys will have a tough time maybe and run into some smaller fish. But there's definitely gonna be some experts out here that really get into the big 3 to 5 pounders.
This is it, the last event of the year on the Minnesota Pro-Am Bass Tour, and what a special day it is, as we are going to award the Frankie's Marine Northland Fort Angler of the Year. The most consistent angler of the year gets a 3-year lease from Northland Fort. 2 leading anglers, Gary Burks, Ross Taylor, are with me right now. Congratulations to both of you on a stupendous year. You are leading the pack.
Thanks, Chip. It's been quite a ride. I've had a great year.
And Ross, I can't believe it, especially with your last finish. You got to be just excited coming into this last day.
I'm completely jazzed. It's given me a lot of confidence heading into the last day of the tournament. Gary's got a little bit of a lead, but I think if I get one good day together, I can come back strong and perhaps take that Angler of the Year title I've been working so hard for.
So will the Frankie's Marine Northland Fort go to one of these 2 gentlemen or somebody else on our contender list? We'll have to take a look at that. In the meantime, wish each other luck, and let's hit the lake.
Sun's coming up, nice morning. This is an exciting time in the morning. I mean, everybody's starting off equal right now. I'm a little bit nervous, I'll admit that. This is an important tournament for me. I'm sitting right now at 38th, so I'm what they call a bubble boy right now. I gotta have a good tournament. Rick's sitting a ways out. I'd love to get him into the Tournament of Champions too. We're gonna go out, we're gonna fish hard, and do our best. Hopefully we load the live wells up. Here we go, let's get these fish.
They got to grow up about 4 or 5 times this big. This is bait. Not going to get too worried for a while here. We're just getting going and getting some of the adrenaline out of my system.
Gary Burks, on him because he has been Mr. Consistency. He's been very consistent all year, and he's got to stay consistent for at least one more tournament to capture that title. We currently don't have any fish in the boat. We're going to keep going with this pattern here because the fish will continue to bite throughout the day, and with the cloud cover moving in, it should actually help our bite. So we're just going to stick with it and hopefully grind out 8 good fish.
God, should be right in here, Rick. Am I seeing fish surface here? What is that? Nope, I just had a hit. Oh. The net, reverse the net, flip it around. He hit friends. I saw him. There we go, that's what we're looking for. He ain't big, but he's a start. That first fish in the boat is huge. It's a good feeling. You know you're doing something right there.
Good job, Dean. As Dean Capper's 3rd fish today, and he is hot in contention for the Frankie's Marine Northland Fort Angler of the Year race. Every fish is important for Dean because Dean is only 19 points behind our leader, Gary Burks, coming into the final event of the year. I can tell you what, Dean Capper knows what pressure is all about. He's been the Angler of the Year before. Can Dean Capper find 5 more fish to put him on top again?
We kind of come into this protected area. A little better weather here. It's calm for throwing skitter pops. My partner Chuck today is sitting good in the points race for Angler of the Year. He's only 8 points out of first place, and we've got the kind of fish we need to catch in the box, but we've only got one. If we can get any more of that size, Chuck's going to be the Angler of the Year. So there was no pressure on me starting the day because he's guaranteed in the championship, but now things have changed because he wants to win Angler of the Year.
Really, it's just having good partners. Try to do the best you can from the back of the boat.
Pro angler Chad Johnson, co-angler Rich Taylor have found one of the big schools of smallmouth here on Rainy Lake. It's only 8 o'clock in the morning. They've already put 6 fish in the boat with one over 4 pounds. They could be well on their way to a $10,000 first place prize.
Nice out here. I don't mind the rain. They bite in bad weather. They always do.
Right now, I'm 17th in the point standings, which I'm pleased about. There's only about 30 points separating 17th from 40th, so we got our work cut out for us this afternoon. We've got 1 fish in the boat today. There's another one. There's another one, partner. I think it's a bass. We got everything else, Hopefully this is the right kind for us. Nice fish. All right, thanks, partner. Now this is what we're fishing for. The nice Rainy Lake smallmouth.
Right over here.
Yeah, you'll measure.
Right in the net, baby. All right, that's 3. You can catch one now and then. Even a small fish like that just keeps you in tune with things and lets you know you're doing the right thing and working the right areas, working the right baits. Keeps you sharp.
You know, the interesting thing about tournament fishing is the change that happens. Here today, I got my winter jacket on, my rain gear, the wind's blowing 80 miles an hour, and everything changed. Just trying to get one last fish in the boat, man. Telling you what, there ain't nothing worse than sitting on 7. Had something bump it, I don't know. There he is, right there, look at that. I got that little bugger's got to come home with us. I got him, baby. Oh, get ready, get ready. I'm gonna try to get him to come up the first time. Get him, get him, get him. Oh my gosh, it's a walleye. There you go. Whoa. Little short lunch walleye there from Rainy.
The Minnesota Pro-Am Bass Tour. It's no understatement to say that our anglers love to fish.
You might come back for it. There he is. I got him. I got him.
And they love to win.
Give a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
But sometimes that just isn't enough.
I fished tournaments for a quarter of a century now, and I've had some success and some disappointments. But there's never anything more rewarding for me than to have a cause like this at the very root of a tournament.
Pro angler Al Erdelin is talking about his participation in the MACV Charity Bass Tournament. MACV stands for the Minnesota Assistance Council for Veterans, a nonprofit organization that helps homeless veterans. This is the organization's first year to hold a fundraising fishing event.
Why fishing? Why did you?
Well, because I don't golf. It's figure something everybody can do, and it's a little different than for a fundraiser. And
yes, a different kind of fundraiser because everyone can fish and have a good time doing it.
what I liked more than anything else was the pro bass guys. It seemed like they were having a good time. Really were patient with the people who hadn't fished before.
The Minnesota Pro-Am Bass Tour is proud to be a part of such events. It allows the tour and its sponsors to make an impact statewide and provides the anglers an opportunity also to make a difference. So far this year, the tour has been involved with local charities which include the Wild's 10,000 Rinks program, the Regions Hospital Burn Center, and the Doug Minkiewicz Bass Fishing Classic. For the anglers, knowing that the money is going to a good cause casts a whole new light on tournament fishing.
Those that can provide some support to those in need, it just, there's a feeling that you can't really describe. It just makes you feel all warm inside.
A season long of qualifying events here on the Minnesota Pro-Am Bass Tour all comes down to today. Because what these anglers have been striving to do is to accumulate points throughout the entire season, trying to make it to the championships. We at the championships, the Minnesota Pro-Am Bass Tour will take the top 40 pros and the top 40 co-anglers to Lake Minnetonka, where we're going to give away over $90,000 in cash and prizes, and those decisions are going to get made here. Julie and Allison are heading up the office team of the Bass Tour, and they have been up all night long tabulating the results going into this final day to see who's going to have enough points to make the championships and who's going to pack it up for the season. So let's get back out on the water and see who's going to Tonka.
All right, Mike, ready to go. We're going to run down here to another little spot, little rock wall with some boulders on the side. You throw the pop bar, I'll take the jerk bait, we'll see what happens. Let's go. A guy like me sitting on the bubble, I feel the pressure because I really want to make that championship.
Little one. Oh, I don't think he'd measure anything. It's a beautiful lake. Basically what we're doing is we're just covering a lot of water. We're throwing small spinners, just working a lot of shoreline.
That's like one of the goals I set out this year was to make the tournament champions because I haven't made it yet. I think I'm going to be in the top 15, top 20 or so. And this is my 4th year fishing, and I'd really like to make it. Right now, Brian's status, he's 38th place in the points race. That puts a lot of pressure on me as a pro because I'd like to do everything I can to get him in that tournament champions. Only the top 40 qualify. So if we can put one fish in the boat, it's gonna do a lot of good to get him into the tournament champions.
My partner and I are kind of fishing for pride and for that check. So our strategy today has been to kind of go for the big fish and go for broke. And we were either going to come back with one or no fish, or we were going to come back with bigger fish.
Right now I'm on the bubble. I'm about 42nd spot. Jim's done his job and he's got us more than enough. So I think I can make the TOC and might have a chance to make a sweetness and cash a check today. So we're looking forward to the weigh-in.
Today, for the most part, it's been cold and rainy. The sun's just starting to break now, and the fish will start to move and probably start to move up onto the shallower water. And so the challenge to the guys is trying to figure out where the fish have moved to and what they're feeding on and the different types of conditions. I'm throwing a plastic mimic minnow head with just a fluke on it. And what I'm trying to do is just mimic what these fish up in Rainy typically, and that's a smelt forage. And you just kind of pull it along the bottom, move it slow. Hopefully one will pick it up.
We had a real good morning. We've got all our fish by 7 o'clock. It's about 1:30 right now. We got about another hour to fish. We got to get rid of one more fish, and then we'll have a real good bag today, I think. And we're just gonna go beat some banks here a little bit, just to get out of the wind a little bit. Been fighting that all day, so hopefully we can get a decent one here.
You'll be a happy camper when you see what International Falls has to offer. Located just minutes from Voyageurs National Park, this area boasts the most beautiful scenic wilderness area in the state. And where there's wilderness, there's wildlife. Just look who we saw taking a swim. Get comfortable when staying at one of the local lodges or resorts. Maybe you'll feel more at home on the water. Whether you tour the paper mill, get to know a local legend, or visit our neighbors to the north, remember one thing, only you can prevent fun from happening in International Falls.
Record at the Minnesota Pro-Am Bass Tour.
A moment like this sometimes only comes once in a lifetime. Minnesota Pro-Am Bass Tour pro angler Troy Barrett is in the business of making those memories last a lifetime. Amateur angler Rick Hill was the one who helped make it his business.
Probably just a nuisance at that age. You know, we're trying to get work done, and of course, everybody wants to know what goes on in a taxidermy shop.
Back before Rick started Rick's Taxidermy in Hudson, Wisconsin, he owned A1 Taxidermy in North St. Paul, near where Troy was going to school. For Troy, it was an A1 hangout.
I was kind of the nosy little kid that just kind of hung out, you know, and that kind of all evolved around saying, oh, you know, since you're down here a lot, why don't you come in and work for us, you know? So that's what ended up happening. I came down and did some work for Rick and you know, enjoyed it.
Another thing Troy enjoys is tournament fishing. He started as an amateur, then 3 years ago he turned pro.
It takes a lot of time. Fishing on the Minnesota Pro-Am is an awesome experience.
And the time it takes can take its toll on a working relationship.
I was doing a lot of taxidermy during the summer with Rick, and I'd say, well, I'm not going to be here next week, and he'd look at me and say, now where are you going? I said, well, I'm going fishing. He's like, well, you're never going to get any work done if you're fishing.
But Troy remedied that situation by talking his taxidermy teacher into trying out the Minnesota Pro-Am Bass Tour. Now, he's hooked.
Now I get to turn the tables a little bit and say, hey, you got to get some work done. And he's like, no way, we're going fishing.
I don't know which is better, working or fishing, but I'd choose fishing.
It's only fitting that taxidermy is what brought these two together in the first place. The bond that resulted has endured, just like the trophies they so skillfully create for their customers.
For the number of years, and it's been, I don't know, 15, 17 years, that he and I have been friends and hanging out together, fish together now. So he's kind of like my son.
Well, it's about half hour, 20 minutes till we have to go back in. We're in the third flight today. And right now I'm in 31st place going into today. We have 6 fish in the box, and hopefully we're gonna get a few more. We just had the 7th one jump off.
We got about 15 minutes left. We're gonna run back and hit that one spot again. We've got one decent fish and 3 small ones. Every fish right now is worth points. My co-angler's trying to make it to the championship. I'm sitting, I think, 51st after yesterday. A couple more fish would really make a big difference right now.
It's 3 o'clock right now. We have about 5 minutes left to fish. And I just stopped right here on this rock and caught a 14-incher. That gives us 7. So there was another one with it. I'm going to try to catch it real quick before we go in. We'll get a limit. Right up here. Well, let's get this little back corner here. Big one, big fish. Yeah, there. Nice. That's number 8. That's the last 10 minutes of the day. We just caught 2 fish. Got 10 minutes to get in. I kind of was liking this spot. We should have started here. This is the last cast. That wasn't too bad. We got a limit.
Hey, stay tuned, because up next, Rainy Lake's $10,000 winner and our Minnesota Pro-Am Bass Tour Angler of the Year. The next time you plan a weekend fishing trip, plan to be environmentally friendly. The Minnesota Office of Environmental Assistance offers tips on how you can reduce, reuse, and recycle when reeling in the big ones. Start with your engine. Upgrade to a 4-stroke motor. They're quieter, cleaner, and more fuel efficient. Gas your boat on land rather than in the water. This will reduce pollution into the lakes and rivers. When fishing, use non-lead sinkers in order to protect wildlife from lead poisoning. And how about trying some earth-friendly bait? Berkeley's Gulp Bait is plastic-free and 100% biodegradable. Just a few little ways you can make a big difference out on the water.
Being the last qualifying event of the year on the Minnesota Pro-Am Bass Tour, many anglers rolled the dice and took a gamble heading into this last event. But I'll tell you what, a few of those gambles did pay off, including gambles by Dennis Fiedler and Darwin Sumner with 21.68 pounds, earning them third place. Michael Big Fish Bruno, Ron Gerdensmeyer, 23.42 pounds, earns them second. And oh my gosh, have you ever seen smallmouth bass like this? Chad Johnson, Rich Taylor, 25.57 pounds. Amazing. Congratulations, guys. It's time to hit the championship. Last qualifying event of the year on the Minnesota Pro-Am Bass Tour, and we get our last two champions, but they did it in whopping style with over 25 pounds of smallmouth bass. Chad Johnson, Rich Taylor, congratulations for an incredible day of fishing. What was going on in your minds as you were bringing in these huge fish?
Well, both Rich and I were confident going out this morning, Chip, and when we got to the spot, our confidence was redeemed. We got the fish right away, had a great day, throwing Northland Mimic minnows, working them really fast, and we got bit constantly for the first hour and a half of the day.
That's great. Rich, your fourth year, I think, fishing as a co-angler in the Minnesota Pro-Am Bass Tour, and this is your first time there. What was going through your mind as these fish are just coming over the sides of this Ranger boat?
We had a lot of fun with Chad. Was just a great pro to fish with. He found the fish, put me on them, and then if you can show me the fish, I'll catch them. And we had a good team effort. We had a good time.
Well, these are two of the best in the Minnesota Pro-Am Bass Tour. And I'll tell you what you're going to want to do is go back up to the stage. We're going to have to check out and see what other anglers on the Minnesota Pro-Am Bass Tour are going to make it to our championship on Lake Minnetonka this September.
Feels great to be holding the cup. It was a lot of hard work. I had 5 great partners that helped me out a lot this year.
Really excited. I'm really proud of my accomplishment. There's a lot of tough anglers in the Minnesota Pro-Am, and I'm just glad to be on top.
Chip Lear's wardrobe provided by Carhartt and Irish Setter.